We just back out of executive session. Mr. Stroman made a motion. Ms. Plato seconded. It was unanimous. We just come out of executive session with meeting with Mr. Will Flumen with Marlboro Electric Co-op. He was here asking for tax incentives, so we're going to take that and we'll discuss it further. And no actions were taken, no decisions were made, but we heard what they were asking for, and so we'll continue to move forward and out of that meeting and see what we can come up with. All right. With that, ask everyone to please stand. Mr. Boyce, if you want to give invitation.
What a wonderful God we serve. Father, we thank you first and foremost, Lord, for life, health, and strength. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to gather again together this month, Lord, to discuss the thing that goes on in Marlboro County. Continue, Lord, to lead us in the right direction, Lord, to make our area a better place for everyone that is involved. Protect us from the seen and unseen, Lord. Father God, these are our blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you. I think the ones for coming out. Up first, we have approval of agenda items.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. It's unanimous. The next, approval of minutes, August the 10th, 2021.
Move we accept the minutes as read. Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. There was 2 abstained, and I think Mr. Plato was on Zoom, so, all right. Then the next one is the August 30, 2021 call council meeting. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. It's unanimous. Old business. Ordinance 820, ordinance to amend the personnel policies and procedure ordinance regarding the rate of overtime pay for employees engaged in law enforcement, second reading. Mr. Monroe.
Mr. Chairman, this is the second reading of the ordinance that will set the overtime rate for Sheriff's Department and detention center officers at 1.5 times their regular rate. This is a long time coming, and this will be the second of 3 readings to make that happen.
I second.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Hopefully that'll help out. We got one more reading, so to get them to that time of the half overtime. So like I said, we're glad to be able to work on that. So up next, new business, ordinance 821, flood prevention ordinance, first reading.
Mr. Chairman, this is a routine ordinance that we have to renew every so many number of years, and it is the Bible that's used by Mr. Hamilton and Codes Enforcement to protect citizens from development in flood areas and floodplains. So it sets all those standards. It also has to be in place so that citizens can get flood insurance if they're in a floodplain. So this is a very important ordinance, and it's being renewed without any significant changes, and we ask that you approve it in first reading. If you have any questions, we do have, I think Mr. Hamilton was here, but if not, you have 3 readings, we could hear more. But it is the routine standard ordinance that needs to be here to prevent development and deal with development in floodplains.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, well, we know we got up and coming storm probably coming up, that this ordinance 821 is very important, that we need to move forward.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Ordinance 822, an ordinance authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended, the execution and delivery of an infrastructure credit agreement between Marlboro County and a company known as the county's Project Feather, which includes a grant of certain special sources of revenue credits, amend the existing fee in lieu, add other taxes between the county and Project Feather, provide for the extension of the investment period therein, and amend to another existing fee in lieu, add whatever taxes between the county and Project Feather, provide for the extension of the term of agreement and other related thereto. First reading, that is a question.
Yeah, easy for you to say. I didn't give this the project name. I know people always make fun of those, but this is for an existing industry, a large employer, actually the largest employer in the county, and it will extend the investment period, meaning that they can continue to invest and still receive property tax incentives and benefits in order to stay viable and to continue to employ people here. The council has been very aggressive in doing this. You've done it for Domtar recently, and this follows the exact same pattern. So this is the first reading by title only, and that's the purpose and intent of the ordinance.
I move we approve ordinance 822.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Resolution 092101, a resolution authorizing submission of the application by Marlboro County for airport grant in the United States of America, added through the federal, the FAA, the amount of $581,617, and authorization to accept grant if awarded. Speak on
Mr.
that.
Chairman, we routinely every year receive grants to work on our airport through the FAA. This amount is a little bit larger. Some of this is a result of COVID money and that sort of thing. It's to rehab the tarmac, so not the runways, but the paved areas around the runways. And we have a consultant that we've used for a number of years, Talbot and Bright, and they've made that recommendation. And there have been discussions at some point with the Airport Commission. It does have a match, people always ask, of $29,000, but that is budgeted in your special funds budget that you've already passed. So that's taken care of. And so for $29,000, we're able to leverage that into $581,000. So that's a good thing, and we ask that you approve the application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we award the grant, that we accept it, resolution 092101.
Motion is second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Resolution 092102. Resolution authorizing the county administrator to enter into a collaborative agreement with the PD Regional Transportation Authority for the purpose of providing public bus transportation for local workforce and citizens.
Mr. Chairman, this is part of a success story with our bus system here in the county, something that this council took the initiative under strategic planning 3 years ago. It's been 3 years now, to create public transportation for the workers in our community. And fortunately, we found partners with PDRTA and Care South and others that this is even more than that. It takes people to the doctor's office and the grocery store and that sort of thing. So this is a request by staff to renew that agreement for 3 more years. I will promise you that at strategic planning coming up next month, that we'll give you, we'll bring in a full update on how things are going, so that you all can evaluate that, and if there's some tweak you want to make, you'd have that opportunity. This would renew it as it is, and then if you all came up with something different, we would go try to work that out.
So do we have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept resolution 0920-21-02.
A motion is second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. I think it has been well received within the county and is used a lot, and you see the buses going up and down the road, so that is good. And it's successful. If you renew it, that means it's usually successful. So if you don't renew it, it means it's not. So that's a good thing that it's a success. So next is resolution 092103, resolution to provide for the premium pay of Marlboro County government employees in accordance with the interim final rule for the United States Treasurer for the American Rescue Plan. Mr. Moan.
Mr. Chairman, the American Rescue Plan Act monies that the county received have a few things that are well defined that the money can be used for. And one is to give additional pay to employees that had to go to work when we were in lockdown, when the state was in lockdown. And this resolution would approve a $2.50 per hour additional for those hours during that time period, capped at 1,000 hours. So if you worked at least 1,000 hours, that would add up. This is in line with the plan. It's also in line with what other counties and towns have done. The only thing that's not in the resolution that I apologize, I did want to ask your input on, if you want to approve this, is other counties have chosen to do this in a way that the $2.50 was the net amount, that it wasn't eaten up by payroll taxes when it was calculated. That is a little bit of a necessity because those of you who've worked in plants or places where you have a lot of overtime, it'll bump your checkup and take it all away from you. So we would ask you to consider the resolution as written with the amendment that, that staff calculate what the equivalent hour would be to make the net $2.50.
But do we have to amend that, or just can we make the motion as that? Could we make the motion as such?
I think as long as it's on the record that you've made the choice to make that, I mean.
That's a grand total, if I'm not mistaken, $2,500.
Net, yes.
And I don't know what that, but you just move up to get it down.
Right, you have to move it up.
I mean, Mr. Park's good at stuff like that.
This is for elected officials also?
It's, the way the rule is written, it's only for like elected department head types.
Okay.
Sheriff, courthouse, appointed people, that sort of thing.
Who's the for? I'm sorry, I missed that.
He asked if it was for elected officials, and the way that the way that it's written out, and the lawyer, our labor lawyer says it has to be for like department head, elected department heads or appointed department heads, I guess, but not other elected officials.
So you had a motion to
Yes.
2,500 net.
Right, 2,500 net.
Okay.
Let's say 250 net,
That's
because
amendment.
some people might not hit there. 250 per hour net,
250 per hour net.
and whatever the max for 1,000 hours is.
I'd like to amend my motion to 225 net.
$50.
$250.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. That would be to go for up to $2.50 per 1,000 hours net for the ones that had to go work through the pandemic. And so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. We do thank everybody that did have to go through that, and so that was out and about, and sometimes some people just are in that role and they have to continue on, so we want to reward them if we're possible. Next, appointments to boards and commissions. We have a consideration to appoint Mr. Emery Lane to serve as Marlboro County Economic Development Partnership Executive Board.
Mr. Lane is the site manager or vice president over Mohawk's plants at Mohawk, and there's a slot in the partnership that for industry people, and he is part of that new management team there and very, very interested in being active, and he would be a great addition to the partnership board.
Mr. Chairman, I got one too.
Okay.
On my economic development board, the gentleman that's serving me now, he's asked me to take him off the list. And I got Mr. Antoine Benjamin. Miss Patricia, I got his address and everything over here. I'll make sure that you get that. For the Economic Development Board.
Those aren't district appointments anymore. They're not district
Okay,
appointments.
yeah, okay.
So I'll get with you, we'll
Okay.
figure that out.
So we just got the consideration for the one,
Yeah,
and then we can, I guess we'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll get it straight.
Is there any more appointments to boards and commissions? All right. If not, do we have a motion for Mr. Emery Lane?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Finance report, Mr. Park.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council members, Mr. Moran. We have the financial report. That's as of August 31st, 2021. And at that date, revenues totaled $1,080,623. The general fund expenditures for those 2 months total $1,179,052 of a $12,658,582 budget, or 9.31% of budget year to date. Still early in the year. I don't know if there's any questions you might have. I'd be glad to discuss those.
This running pretty traditional, what it's always done at this time of
Yeah,
year.
it's very similar to prior years. Yes, sir.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Mr. West.
Mr. Munn.
Mr. Chairman, as always, we recognize employee anniversaries greater than 5 years or more. We have a few tonight. Steve Akers with 23 years, Susan Rivers with 21 years, Patty English with 13, Sharon Wilson with 21 years, Janella Williams with 15, Robin O'Toole with 9, Sarah Alberry with 7, Jeremy Steen with 12, Benitris Ferguson with 23, and Greg Leviner with 8 years. That's a lot of experience when you add it together. There's a number of items on my report tonight, and they're pretty important ones. So we'll try to go through those as quickly as possible and take questions as needed. You know, we all are awaiting the recreation analysis project where we're going out and council authorized money for the partnership to hire a consultant to study our recreation needs and what we have now and what we need for the future and how to pay for it. And so that committee has received 3 proposals from 3 different consultants, and met yesterday from 11:30 in the morning until after 5. It was a long meeting, interviewing those folks to try to get a feel for what they could do or not do. Tomorrow we will meet again to score those things and choose one and then move forward with that. Once the consultant is selected, then we'll fine-tune a timeline for that and make that public. The assessment, whoever does it, will seek input from individuals, from community groups, from council people and other local governments, from everyone to look at, you know, the needs, the wants, the ideas, all of that, and to try to wrap that into one and come back with some ideas for, you know, what we need to do, what we need to do new, you know, and how to make those things work. So we're really excited about that. I know y'all are interested in that as well. And we hope to get that going and have results by the springtime, if not sooner. Recreation, football, and soccer, we only have 15 people registered for rec football. We feel like some of that's COVID, but also we have a very, very active AAU program in the county that, I mean, was just loaded with folks. So we suspect that's some of that. We did have a fair turnout on soccer registrations, and they're putting together several teams and will be playing this fall. As soon as they have that done and have schedules, they'll get all that to you so you know. So we're looking forward to that. Some of the folks, the 15 people that registered for football also switched over to soccer. So we're capturing, getting those folks involved. Redistricting, this is a big topic. It is across the state. You know, with some of the other governments, the House members and the senators and all that, it's already been discussed and there's been hearings and all that. For the county council districts, it is perhaps a little bit more simple. You know, we've gone to the Department of Revenue and Fiscal Affairs because they helped us last time, those of you who were here 10 years ago. And what they'll do basically is they'll look at all your districts and they'll see how many people were in them in 2010 when they drew the lines. And then they'll say, well, how many people are in there now? And so what not to overly simplify it, but it is that simple. You know, if there's a big change from Mr. Stroman's people moved to Wallace, you know, you would have to figure out how to split that out evenly. Your goal is to take the number of people in the county and divide it by 8, and every district be close to that number. Now there are things you have to look out for. You want to protect districts that are majority minority. You want to not cut a neighborhood in half if you don't have to, those sort of things. But right now, considering the fairly low number on change in population, it's very likely that we come back and you really don't have to do much of anything. And of course, the people at the state were saying the same thing, is, you know, if you haven't had but, you know, 300 or 400 change in overall population, you know, you may be fine. And that's great. I mean, other than it's sad we're not gaining population, it would make it a lot easier. One issue that we had to clarify again today, 10 years later, is when we did it last time, the state tried to make us include the prison in the district numbers. So District 2 would have had everybody in the state and federal prisons in that district. But, and I had thought that we did that, but when I got to looking at it, it didn't make sense. And I called the lady, the state, and you know, we got that resolved. Those numbers are pulled out. That wouldn't be fair. Those folks aren't permanent citizens here. So as soon as we have what they call a benchmark, that where we were and where we are, then we'll get involved, ask council to have a meeting if necessary, have the person from the state come and talk about it. If it's such that it's not needing to be changed, we'll still have them come, just so you all and the public understand the process.
Who draws
Sir,
who draws the line?
the county council would draw the line.
We will.
Yeah, and when I say that, the way I can only relate to kind of how it happened last time is, the state people in Columbia have very detailed maps. So if you took a line in your district and moved it over, they could tell you how many people you picked up. And so last time we went back and forth, and they would say, well, you need to gain this, and the line would be moved, people would be involved, the council would be involved in that, would bring maps back and look at them, and everybody kind of come to a consensus. So if there's a need for a change, she would bring big maps and sit them here, and we would go through that process and go back and forth with her or whoever, and then come back again, until you got it where you wanted it. My hope is that there's not a lot of change needed, because it can be difficult. But it's in no way like house seats or anything like that. I mean, what's happened with the state house seats, they take the total population of the state and divide it by some number and say every district has to have 43,000 or something. I know you've been, and 10 years ago when my wife was in the house, I think it was 38,000. So all of a sudden everybody's scrambling, I need to get this, and that bumps this person over, and then it gets complicated. Even if y'all have to make changes, it's not been that complicated here. And I have to say it was pretty simple process. You protected what you needed to, and you did the right thing in the past. Moving along, the next thing, we had a staff development meeting last week, a day-long meeting with my direct reports, my staff, to discuss a couple of things. We wanted to make sure we're prepared for your strategic planning meetings, so we can come in and tell you the good and the bad of what's happened since it's been done, but also to have an ongoing discussion about how to make things run better and new ideas and all that. With this form of government, everything sort of falls on me as administrator, but I can't do it by myself, and we all are a part of this. So this was designed to keep everybody a part of it, keep the ideas flowing, and we'll have some follow-up on that. So that moves along to the strategic planning process. And you see my notes I made for you. Our last full-blown, I call it, last start to finish kind of strategic planning session occurred in 2017. And when I first came on board, we all participated and did that. And then every year we've had updates, which have been, somewhat involved, but basically are building on what you already had. So normally you go to 5 years and then do it, but with new council members here and a lot of new ideas, it would be in discussions with the chairman, and he feels like, and I agree, that it's, go ahead and let's do it again this fall, full blown. So down here I have the steps that I feel need to be kind of the topics for meetings, and how we break those out, or whether you try to do 2 in one night or 2 in one day, that's something to be discussed. But basically we'd start out by having staff update you on the initiatives already in place. The Marty bus, that was going great. Other things maybe haven't had any progress. Also update you on things going on in the community that impact these problems and these opportunities. And then secondly, there'd be a session where you brainstorm. Everybody brings their ideas. Council presents ideas they have. Council works with staff, in an open forum to try to come up with ideas and initiatives to be heard. Then staff would have the homework of going out and saying, okay, well, if we do this, how do we do it? What does it cost? What people do we need? What impact will this have? Here's 10 ideas. Which ones are you going to get the most bang for your buck? Council can decide, well, maybe we'd be better to do this because we can make a real difference there. And then the last step would be to just adopt that in a formal document, which has been very helpful to staff and everyone else. Having that, I keep it on my desk. And so if I lose track, I look at what we're aiming towards. The day-to-day stuff's pretty, I know what to do there. So that would be the last step. And Mr. Chairman, my suggestion would be is that Ms. Bundy and I sent out some dates and ideas to get with you, and then send them out to everybody and let everybody kind of pick good times to do this. It could be part of your regular monthly meeting. Afterwards, it could be trying to do a couple of steps at one time in a day, but it is a little work, so it's a little work to do it right. Any questions on that, or? That sound
Set some
okay?
dates out, then we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
As you know, we joined in the opioid litigation, and Attorney McLeod has received a request that the chairman write a letter basically to support the direction that the lawyers are going in. Andrew, help me with that. It's basically to do what now? Make sure it goes straight to the subdivisions and not through the state? That's correct. Okay. So if we get a settlement, it comes straight to us, or us like us, instead of going through the state. That sounds like a good idea every time. So unless somebody has an issue, we'll get that letter out and get Chairman Steen to do that.
Okay.
The last thing I had was a promised update on an idea that Councilman Stroman's brought up that I think is a great idea. And I've done a little homework on this because it has some different options. And this I think there's a pressing need to at least do one now to try to get something going, and then maybe a strategic planning process could come up with how far you want to go with it. But basically, it's about putting electronic billboards or bulletin boards up around the county, and to put available job information. Mr. Stroman came on board with that mission, and I think it's a great one. It even has a name that suggests Employee Marlboro, which goes along with some things we're doing. It fits right in with that. But I did list here some ideas of where, if we put them out in the county. I talked to Kershaw County, which is my go-to kind of middle-of-the-road county. They're not as rich as Greenville, but they're not as poor as Marlboro. And what they've done there is they've gotten a big one, but every county facility, when they put a sign up, they go ahead and try to find the money to put at least a smaller one at those facilities. And the cool thing is it's all connected on it through the internet, and somebody in the county office can put the message on it. So I've given y'all some ideas, and I really need, not right now necessarily, but need y'all to give us some thought on that so we can go out and try to find locations for the smaller ones. I did look in, Councilman Stroman, I did look into a mobile one, but we were concerned about theft and how you connect it temporarily. I think we try to push to get them in certain areas, probably be better than doing a mobile one if we can do that. They're about $20,000 each for the small ones, a little bit more for the larger ones. We do have enough money in special projects to do one now. If that suits y'all, I don't know that I'd even need a budget amendment. We could go ahead and move forward with one to go somewhere in the center of the county to start out with. So that's the last item I had. I just want to make sure y'all were aware of that and that we were trying to move forward with that great idea. Fair enough. Anything else?
Any more questions, comments?
Well, thank y'all.
How fast do we get this going?
I knew you were going to say that. Well, like I said, I think we could do one pretty quickly, in the next few weeks with one.
I'm sorry.
In the next few weeks.
I think we could do one in the next few weeks.
Purchasing one in the next few weeks, or we don't need to meet again for that, right?
No, he said he thinks
No, that's
he
what
can
I
do
said.
one without a budget amendment. Yeah.
We're in the process of hiring a IT person, a computer person, and we have some good candidates, and I'm hoping I can get that person in place before we do this, because it's a lot of that. So we'll keep y'all up to date on that. What's that? Yeah, the other issue is everything you try to buy right now is crazy. The lead time on buying stuff, so we haven't actually called and said, if we had a check today, how soon can we get it? So we'll start doing that tomorrow.
All right.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. Next, Ms. Pearlie Lawson. You got recognition of citizens' request. Thank you. Got tongue-tied. And Ms. Pearlie Lawson, come forward. And our clock, it got going crazy around and around. So
I know it's
I
a
said,
3 minutes
we
thing,
just-
so
it was the
I know
3
it's-
minutes would have went real fast if it would have went by there. So
I must stop so you tell me. But I know
okay,
that.
you're good. Go ahead.
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman and members of the council and all officers and all other leaders present, I thank you so very much for this opportunity to speak. And I'm here tonight wearing 2 hats. And one of the things, that because I didn't have an agenda, I wanted to hear about the ordinance that you put in place. I didn't know whether that was on the agenda or not.
What's that?
About the solar thing that was in June.
That's been done. It's-
Okay,
it's ready to
well,
roll.
this is what we want to say, thank you. We have some members here in our community. We are here to say, to express our thank you and concerns, how you acted on that, and just wanted you to know, I didn't have an agenda, so I didn't see that. But I want to say thank you, and we wanted to know that if this sets a precedence for other people in the community, we wanted to say that we're glad that we're part of that. Again, I'm here to wear the second hat as president of Marlboro County Branch NAACP, and actually say that Mr. Munderland said what I needed to say about redistricting. So I do appreciate him being actively involved, because I've been actively involved through the state level. I've attended the state, the Senate judiciary meetings in Florence, and then I attended just this past Thursday the House. So I've been following this very closely for my county because I'm very much interested. I do know that there has been some redistricting problems with the state, the packing and the cracking, packing districts together and then cracking up, breaking up districts. That's what that means. It's just like someone said, it's just like drug talk, cracking and packing. But one of the things that, that we want to be sure is that we do know that the municipal areas in this county will be doing their own, and the county will be drawing lines. But you'll also be drawing the school board lines. So we want to say that we would like very much that we would like to be a part of that. When I say we want community groups such as NAACP and any other interested group to be a part of the meetings and the process of how those lines are drawn, and be sure that we have an opportunity to see the maps, just so we understand it. Because, be honest, when districts are drawn, we may not have any confusion, but there could be confusion, and that way, if the community is involved, they'll know up front more about that. So I do want to say thank you so very much for being actively involved in that and bringing your council members a part of that. So I didn't have much to say on that. And also with the American Rescue Plan, we know that the funds are involved in that, want to be actively part of how those funds are being distributed in the county. So when community groups such as NAACP or any group, we want that opportunity to be a part and be around the table at those meetings. So again, I thank you for this opportunity to speak, and do especially thank and appreciate all that you do to support Marlboro County. Thank you.
Mr. Stroman was saying, you know, is the, usually we don't respond, but we passed the strictest solar, you know, proposal there is in the state. So, I mean, it's the strictest in the state.
I saw it in the
So,
with the paper, but we do
we
appreciate
took what
it.
everybody said, and, you know, we applied and we tried to listen. So, you know, we did take it and listen, you know, so that's the strictest one in the state. So,
But we wanted to make sure that we came back to say thank you.
well, you,
So
thank
that's
you
why
for
we're
telling
here.
us. Yeah, that's,
Thank you.
know,
Bye-bye.
A lot of times you do things you don't get to hear thank you, so thank you for that. So we didn't have anybody else to sit from the citizens, so Sheriff, you got anything before we, before I?
Mr. Chairman, today's County Council, Mr. Money Administrator, Ms. Sullivan, and Mr. Campbell, Ms. Sullivan, was instrumental with the personnel issue. I thank you for that. Mr. Campbell was instrumental in helping with the issue with some situation going about radios in the car. Thank you for that. Mr. Odom called me, and when he called, I was on it, but thank you for the call. We've been very busy, and I appreciate everything that our council has done. Blackman, you know, side by side, stolen, and we've been working on that. We talked to some informants down there, had to hit on them things, we're still working. Today, yesterday, there's about $75,000 still stolen out of my car area, farm equipment. Call me about, I did really fast all day. And I want to thank the chairman, Steve, here a couple of weeks ago, we had a 62-year-old lady had some issues, walked away from home, 4 a.m. in the morning, just we could tell. And after 36 hours, we found her, and thank the Lord that she was safe. But I want to thank you, Sergeant, who called, and one of the other sergeants called you, and you did what you normally do. You contacted the certain help, got them out, and gave us additional manpower. Of course, I contacted Slade, they said 13 agencies here, and we was able to contact some 37 hours. It wasn't even, it was 101 degrees in the room. And it was pretty tough out there. But I'm thankful that she's alive and well. just got out of the hospital, and things from dehydrated, some other issues and stuff like that. So again, I want to say to the entire council, to all of you, thank you so very much for what y'all do. Thank you. And one last thing, please understand that 60% of the houses out in the county is vacant because people in school and at work. The other 40% is because people at night shift. So if y'all see something, please pick up the phone. And particularly if you see a strange vehicle, because we can't do it. We cannot do it without y'all's help. I mean, you eyes. You know, 2 heads better than 1, 3 heads better than 2, 4 heads better than 3. And I say that because we all got eyes. And the break-ins, y'all, I can't tell you why, but they're picking up. They are picking up. Farm equipment being stolen every day. If you got a 4-wheel trailer side to side, I chalk it up to the hunting. It's beginning the hunting time now. So if you got trailers and stuff like that, lawnmower trailers and lawnmowers, please lock them up, change them up. If you got cameras, make sure that your cameras are activated and they're working. We saw the case day before yesterday by a citizen. We went to the citizen's house and he didn't even know that we had a break-in. And after talking to them, we played it back and we were able to capture that and we were able to solve the case. So again, please keep your eyes open. Please help us. We thank y'all for what y'all have done, but please continue to do that. And again, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right. Mr. Odom.
Yes, Sunday afternoon I loaded a picture up on Facebook. It was a terrible litter situation on McCall, Mill Pond Road. Mattresses, sinks, commodes, just a whole truckload of stuff that people dump right beside the road on McCall, Mill Pond Road. And I alerted Mr. Hamilton, and he got on it, and he made a case this morning against an individual, and we'll be going to the court system. It's just ridiculous, you know. Our motto in the county is to keep Marlboro County clean and green, and I did reach out to the public Sunday afternoon. If anybody knew anything about that, please call 911, the Sheriff's Department, or the Marlboro County Code Enforcement Office. But we have got to get a handle on this litter stuff. It's just ridiculous, you know, that somebody would drive down, actually a quarter mile from the place where I work at, and dump a whole truckload of mattresses and stuff right almost within a quarter of a mile of our entrance gate. And but anyway, appreciate the job that Mr. Hamilton and the Code Enforcement Office did to bring a charge against someone. It's just, we need everybody's help. If you see somebody dumping something illegally on a dirt road or a public road or whatever, call 911, the Sheriff's Department, or 5600, our number at the county, because we need to put these people in jail or fine them, whatever it has to stop this. Again, break in a friend of mine, large equipment that was stolen from him sometime in the last few days, and Sheriff was working on it early this morning and just got through working on it, and they're still looking for answers. But if you see anything going wrong, call the Sheriff's Department 911 and let them know that this doesn't look good. Alert them so they can get some deputies out there moving to hopefully catch people when they're doing something wrong. And I appreciate the job that the county employees do every day, working to serve the people of the county, and that's pretty much all I got.
I'd just like to say, on the Salem Road, and the Zion Crossroad, and the next crossroad is the Cotton Crossroad, getting closer to town, there have been several fatalities there at both crossroads, and different citizens have been reaching out to me to see if maybe we can maybe contact the highway department, see if they can go back and look at those two crossroads and see if there's something different they can do, because those two in particular, for some reason, that's where they happen at. People are not stopping for the stop signs, what it is, and, you know, I don't know if they can go here and put something across the road and get it once or something, so it bucks them up, I don't know. But right there, there's two crossroads. There's been several lost lives right there, I mean, over the years. And, you know, something needs to be done. I just want to see if I can get someone on staff just to call the highway department and see if, just check that out. That's all.
Things have been quiet in District 3. If anybody has a problem, my ears are open, my office is open to you.
Just want to thank Ms. Lawson for her tireless work behind the scenes and what she does on behalf of the least of those here in this county. Your work does not go unappreciated and unnoticed. In lieu with Councilman Blackmore was saying, Highway 79 and 381 continue to have that same issue. We addressed it early on, and the Highway Department determined that there did need to be a four-way stop sign, but there still needs to be either a flashing light or some of those bumps in the road that alerts people, because that is a weird intersection. If you're not, it converges, and I think, something like that needs. And I rode through there, and I just stopped, and I just saw so many cars, just go through that intersection without a care. And so something can be readdressed with that area. The citizens in the area is really afraid to kind of go, and so they go all the way over, not even pass through that intersection. But we appreciate the work that council is doing. Appreciate our executive session that we've had, really productive, really engaged, and as we continue to work collaboratively and together, I think we can really and truly do some things that's going to impact not only us as council members, but the least of our citizens here who are going through a lot that are unnoticed, and that they think that we don't care. But I'm sure that if we continue to work together, we can make an impact on their lives as well.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Stroh?
Yeah. I'd like to thank Ms. Lawson again. Ms. Lawson, we could actually name that the Lawson,
Lawson rule?
Ordinance, because I'm telling you, it really is the toughest law ordinance that you have on the solar panel. It really is good, and we thank you for that, But I've also had an issue with, I guess, littering in my district, Mr. Odom, over on Troop Street, and I hadn't got back with you.
Yeah, I've got something I'll share with you probably.
Okay, mighty fine. And but it's bad over there in the ditches and stuff like that. Some of that's private property, but some of it's state, owned or county owned, and we either gonna have to enforce it, fine for doing it, or we're gonna have to clean it up. And one or the other. I hate that we have the mentality in the county to just not even care. And it's okay, it's okay for people to do that. There's no consequences for them. But I think that's probably going to change, hopefully that's going to change. But employ Marlboro, that's huge for me, because I really want to take away the thought that people have that there are no jobs in Marlboro County. There are plenty of jobs in Marlboro County. And we're going to show them to you. We're going to show you exactly where they are, and you need to do your due diligence to go apply for those jobs. If we do that, I think we can make a big difference in the county. That's it.
Mr. Plato?
First of all, I'd like to say I've been under the weather a little bit, but I thank the Lord I'm still here. First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Bundy, Ms. Sumter, the law enforcement, Sheriff Lemon, now my brother-in-law, for all the work that y'all do in the county. And I know it's, a lot of times it's not easy what you do, but you stick with it to do a tremendous job you all do. And we thank you for it. Thank you, thank you. Also, I'd like to say something to Miss Lawson for the thing that she do. That's a hard-working lady. She's always out doing something all the time. Sometimes I get on and I say, Miss Lawson, you got to slow down a little bit. She said, I will, and it seems like she speed up. But she's a hard-working lady, and she brings stuff to the table, and I just love her for the things that she do and the way she go about doing it. And the only thing I can say is keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. And you do a great job at it. Also, I'd like to say that Mr. MacArthur, he's a barber. I can't think his first name. What is it?
Chris.
and he my church member. I can't first think of his first name. But anyway, Chris MacArthur, he called me and said that down Marshall Street, you go down Marshall, on the corner of Marshall, just before you go across the highway, you go to the other side of Marshall Street, to the left, it's a house there, and it's got a lot of trees and bushes and all that stuff around it. He said they have grown so that they have almost blocked the view of you making a left turn or seeing what way you want to go, unless you get just about almost in the road. And I told him I would bring that to the board and see whether y'all can help him out there for us getting that straight. Because I don't want, a long time ago, a lot of accidents used to happen there. I mean, a lot of them. But they put a caution light there. That helps somewhat, but then you still got some that go out there and they can just they don't even see the caution light. But he said the trees and stuff was in the way and you couldn't hardly see. So I'm hoping that y'all can do something about that, Miss Cabot. And but other than that, I think that's about it. Mr. Johnson was saying that we could get things done if we work together. Well, I do believe, I think, who made that song about a change gonna come? Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke. He said a change gonna come. Well, I do believe a change coming. It's
Sing
on
it.
the way.
Sing it.
It's on the way. I can't sing it now. but I can't sing it. But a change will come. So it's coming. And I do believe we stick together, we'll see those changes coming. I really do. And I appreciate that. So I think that's all I got to say. And I'm just thankful that everybody's still here. We're still holding on through Christ our Lord, that we're still here. We've seen a lot of people leave, pass away, and everything with this COVID. But I thank the Lord that we are still here in numbers. And I hope and pray that we continue to be in numbers. Okay? All right.
So my preacher says I'm coming to a close and you got 10 more minutes. All right. Mr. Wood.
Bring it on in, man. Bring it
All right,
on.
go ahead.
The only thing that I'd like to give a shout out to Clio Fire Department this morning. They we responded to a call at 4 o'clock. Jimmy Usher, cash and carry, built that building in 1972, and this morning there was a fire there. It's probably be towed down soon, but one of our eating establishment is gone in Clio. 1972 to the day. So them chicken gizzards gone.
Yeah.
Share the pop can't come down and get that gizzard no more, boy. I tell you, you got to go somewhere else. You got to go to Tiger Mark. But anyway, but like I said, it was a loss. But I know we be okay, you know, because everything happened for a reason. Anthony Clio was kind of humble and quiet.
Thank y'all. Thank everybody for coming. Thank the sheriff for what he does, Ms. Lawson, our staff, you know, for everything they do. We thank our council for, you know, working together and, you know, and moving forward, and, you know, hopefully strategic plans, we get some dates and we continue to move forward. You know, good that we have a little laughter in our meetings. You know, laughter is good medicine. So, like I said, so with that, we thank everybody. Stay safe. Call this meeting adjourned. Good meeting, good meeting, good meeting.